Running is easy. At least that's what my mother told me, but she also told me that Santa Claus is real, and that was just as true. So why am I doing it? Here's me just a few years ago, and here I am now. The only thing these two me's have in common? They don't run. But now it's time to get my life back on track. So for the next 8 months, I'm going to be training for something less than 1% of people will ever do. I'm going to be running the Honolulu Marathon to see if I can go from obese to marathon within a single year. My goal? To see if I can become the type of person who runs marathons and finally see myself as a runner. Because if I keep going the way I have been, the hardest part of my day will be getting off the couch. Maybe I should be realistic and say that running a marathon this year is a dream and might not be an attainable goal. But I guess this will be my reality for the next 8 months. Let's see how long I go this time. But before we start, here's my stats. Running miles, 0. Agility, 0. Level up runner status, 0. Today is day 1 of training for the Honolulu Marathon. It is official. I am starting. Heart rate's at 147. I already felt like I was dying, and I was only a few minutes into this run. In fact, I spent so much time walking on this run that I don't even know if I can really call it a run. So the part no one sees is that starting something like this is also really scary. Am I gonna fail? Do I have what it takes to push through? Am I gonna let old habits derail me again? For the first 2 weeks, I didn't run more than 4 kilometers. Even though I wasn't running very far, I felt like every piece of connective tissue that existed in my body decided to go on strike and drove the picket signs into my joints over and over again. Ramping both my shins right now. Just when I thought I wasn't going to be able to do this, I rediscovered the magic of the massage gun, mint lotion, and bath salts. Seriously though, I think the massage gun was the main reason I didn't give up. If I felt overly sore, massage gun. If my legs felt like logs, massage gun. It's the solution to everything. Day 17, day 18, day 20. I discovered that I couldn't run for more than 4 minutes without having to stop. But on day 20, I could run for 8 kilometers if I did a run walk. So I'm going to give myself a +1 on Runner XP today. In 8 months, I'll either be running a marathon or in rehab for all my injuries. So I'm doing everything I can to avoid getting injured. But even with warming up before every run, I was still experiencing pain in my legs during most of my runs. And my legs began to bruise. The pain was significant enough to wake me up in the middle of the night on more than one occasion. Look at this face. Does this face look happy to you? I thought running was supposed to give me a great sleep, but with the soreness in my legs, I was sleeping worse than ever. And all I could think of was that I couldn't do this. I couldn't become a runner. It was too hard, too painful, and I was too big for running. It's just another failure. Look at this. Since all the bruising was in one leg, and I know I have some circulation problems, I went out and bought a running sleeve for my calf. Even though I got the largest size, it still made my toes go numb. Since I can't wear my calf sleeve while running, I'm putting it on when I get home. It's not as good as using it in the moment, but I still think it helps. When I do a longer run, I have to wear them for even longer, so I went on Amazon and I got these super cool compression socks. They've got little cactuses on them. I haven't worn them yet on a run because, well, I'm a little self-conscious and they're not exactly running socks. I'm afraid to get blisters. But maybe soon, right? I decided I had better do some extra training to help, but I think you can add that to the list of things that I'm just not good at. Maybe I could just hang. That's a skill, right? That's when I realized that running isn't just about running, especially as a beginner. My body couldn't keep up with the amount of running I wanted to do, but I didn't want to lose my momentum. Enter the art of the cross-train. It was time to start bike riding, and for that, I was going to need a cameraman. Except husband explaining why I turned around, and he was nowhere to be found because he saw a boat and a bird.
A special boat and a special bird.
I was really looking forward to getting some additional shots in that didn't have a stationary tripod. My cameraman got distracted by another boat. After which I was immediately distracted by a baby goose. We did eventually get our acts together though, and I think we got some pretty good footage. It was nice not to have to worry about both exercising and getting footage for once. I started hiking as part of my cross training as well, and that's when I learned that proper nutrition, proper hydration, and planning ahead is kind of important. I was starting to realize that my usual method of grab whatever from the fridge might not be the best tactic for my new runner personality. And so I began to dial in my nutrition one meal and snack at a time, starting with breakfast. I'm preparing a breakfast smoothie. I'm trying to get in a good amount of carbohydrates and fuel for my run today. I'm adding some oats for that, but I'm also adding in some moringa powder for the iron content. A small amount of coconut oil will help any fat-soluble vitamins get absorbed, and a good hit of protein will help me to feel full. I was really hoping that this recipe I looked up online was still going to taste good after all of my new additions. But it did. I began to learn about hydration on my runs. I started using an electrolyte powder in my water bottles and began to experiment with some high-carb fuel sources as well, things like gels and gummies. If I had to choose between the two, I'm definitely choosing the gummies. When did running become so complicated? I wasn't expecting to have to learn so much stuff to become a runner. I thought I could just put on some shoes and go. Day 23, day 24, day 25 of training for the Honolulu Marathon. Can't believe I'm saying this, but today is day 30 of training for the Honolulu Marathon. So I thought, what better way to celebrate 30 days than to run 10 kilometers?
You have to be your biggest fan. And when things are really tough and they're really rough and nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that. Because you don't know who you're going to meet, who you're going to meet, who you're going to meet.
And that's the first month done. I haven't magically become a runner. I still negotiate with myself before every run. Hills continue to be my greatest enemy. But somewhere between the heavy breathing, questionable life decisions, and way too many walk breaks, something has changed. For the first time in a long time, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. Turns out marathon training doesn't start with running 42 kilometers. It starts by convincing yourself to lace up and go for that run one more time.
Kilometers, 1 hour, 18 minutes, 25 seconds.
Because you don't know who you're going to meet, who you're going to meet.
Even after running for a month, I still don't feel like I'm a runner. What's it going to take before I change? If I want to be considered a runner, then I'm going to have to work a little bit harder. And the first step to do that, I signed up for my first race. I'm going to be running the Gruesome Twosome Half Marathon in Aldergrove. And since it doesn't have a time limit, I'm going to have to complete it no matter how long it takes me.